I got my foothold in the community as a baseball coach. My background's in business, and I moved to New York from New York City to Baltimore, and was volunteer coaching for football. And the season ended, and the athletic director, Wayne Jackson, who incredible history, was one of the 10 Bears at Morgan State on that lacrosse team back in the late 60s, early 70s. He said, "Here's the deal. We don't have a field. I just exhausted the budget on 2 bats that we need safer bats, and they were really expensive. And you're going to be putting equipment in young people's hands for their very first time, and you're going to be competing at the varsity level." So I said, okay, wow, I'm going to take this on, but we're all going to be solving these challenges together. It's a vocational school. The students are going to be involved in solving these challenges. And so I took the money that I made as the coach. I had some additional funds, and I said, money's not going to be an issue here. We're going to get through these challenges. And so what that did, this curated, facilitated 10-week baseball season really enabled our students to self-actualize. And I realized that you just need the right set of support, tools, and circumstances and resources for that to happen. And so, as an example of that, Sterling Hardy, at the end of the season, who was a senior captain, this is back in 2012, said, "This is great that we figured out baseball, but I'm an honor student in carpentry. My teammate Eric is in masonry. My other teammate Terrell is in electrical. None of us are getting job opportunities. We're at this historic trade school, and the reason we're not getting job opportunities is because the marketplace is saying we don't have real world experience. Yet every single day I get off the bus, I look down Pressman Street, and out of the 22 homes of the 2 blocks across from Carver, 9 are vacant, 3 are crumbling. Why is it that we cannot apply what we're learning in our classrooms to renovate these houses, get the experience we need, and that the marketplace says we need in order for us to work?" And so I said, wow, like you're absolutely right. And it's never as easy as it's said, but we're gonna figure this out. And so in 2020, we established a nonprofit, Requity, with the mission of breaking down these barriers between vocational education and the marketplace. And one of the first things we did is we were able to acquire one of these vacant houses. And so as we got into it, we said, well, let's think about what we need to do in terms of building sustainably. We learned that buildings account for a large percent of greenhouse gas emissions. But if we use science and we build, we can reduce that. And at the same time, we can reduce the cost to condition the air, power the appliances by 90%. And in some cases, if you're adding your own energy like solar, you can get a check back from the city. So it was a bold endeavor, but we set out to say, hey, why not West Baltimore? Why not at this historic trade school? Can we not figure out how to build in this manner? And so what we realized we needed to do was practice. And so we set up, so that the pilot project is the Carver House. We set up the Carver Hut inside the masonry lab at Carver, where students are able to build in sequence, so by trade, applying these passive house building principles in a controlled environment inside in the school, so that they have the skill set to then eventually, when we're ready, to walk across the street and then start to apply those learnings in a real world setting.
This is Aaron Rice with Concierge and Baltimore Climate Tech 2025. Great that we're here with Requity, and very excited to hear the solution that they have here in West Baltimore. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves, let us know who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
Thank you, Aaron. Michael Rosenband from Requity, helped to lead the organization, and we are breaking down barriers between vocational education and the marketplace and jobs. There was a study found in 2019, the Fund for Educational Excellence, that found that graduates of Baltimore City vocational programs 6 years out can expect to earn $13,000 a year. And part of the reason that is occurring is that students are lacking real world experiences. And so we're creating these real world experiences where students get compensation and the skills they need, and then the connections to the companies.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I'm Elisha Johnson, Community Engagement Specialist at Requity Foundation, lifelong community member over 35 years in the neighborhood in which we serve.
Awesome. Awesome. I saw the video that you sent out last week. That was amazing. That was amazing. So I got a chance to visit your location over the weekend, and we created something a little bit special for the audience today. So I figured we'd spend a little bit of time maybe doing a virtual tour of your location. So can you see my screen okay?
Yes.
All right, great. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of hit the play button here. So tell me a little bit about kind of where we are and why we selected this location and yeah, orientate us.
So what you're looking at here is our garden apartment. This serves as our headquarters space, and yeah, as you're turning, this is directly across from the historic Carver Vocational Technical High School, which has been incredibly pivotal to have a third space for not only community residents, for our participants, our team, but also, frankly, for Carver and for the district people at the district office to come and meet. It's just a very functional, accessible space, and we feel that it's symbolic. It's important that we're truly rooted in community.
Yeah, I
And
remember when I went to vocational school when I was in high school, you had to hop on a bus and spend, 45 minutes on a bus going to the vocational school. I did auto mechanics way back when, and then shout out to Central Tech in Syracuse, New York. And then we took the bus back to our school. But in this situation, it looks like the students just literally walk right across the street, which I think is amazing.
Across the street. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So
yeah,
tell us, yeah, go ahead.
no, I was just thank you for you're now in our space. It's a garden apartment, and we are utilizing every square footage in it. We are looking to expand, but in the moment, this is our headquarters space, and we're actually able to get a lot done.
So did the students help renovate the space, or how long have you been here?
So this is our third year. It was actually done by a Carver alumni.
Mm.
And I just happened just to be paying attention. We were working on a Carver House, which was down the street. We'll see in a little bit. And I saw that work was being done, and I immediately befriended the guy who was doing the work, and so we were able to secure it as a rental headquarters space. So the shelves you're seeing there, that was done by the students. That was wood from the Carver House property. So they constructed that in carpentry class. They do contribute to a lot of the metrics. You can see a lot of the news articles that fortunately we've been
Hmm.
able to get some great coverage of the work that we're doing, and we just try to celebrate that as best we can. A lot of visual factory management, so there's a lot of our metrics and our progress is up on the board, so it's very clear as to what we're doing on a daily basis for everyone.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, had I not known that these were high school students, I would have thought I would walked into like a construction trailer maybe with the metrics and the analytics and the and all the data that you have on the wall. I see the governor Wes Moore has also been involved with some work that you guys are doing. Tell me about that experience.
Yeah, so we've this I think the fact that what we're doing is connecting education, workforce development. There's climate action in our work, community engagement, and ultimately houses that will be operating more efficiently because of the way we're building. Seems to have it's been attractive at the city level, at the state level. At the federal level, and even at the international level with the United Nations. Governor Moore has been twice. He helped actually to apply in the picture that's on that wall that you're just passing. He helped to apply our air and vapor barrier to the masonry work, which is a critical part of the renovations that we are doing in vacant spaces. So he was here for that to see our work, and then he returned to announce Baltimore, along with the White House representatives, as a one of the five workforce hubs. And whether that continues this administration remains to be seen. But it was good to know that the work we're doing in Baltimore is important enough to be showcased and a potential model for not only Baltimore but for other cities as well.
So there's the Carver House, which is kind of a construction trades. I see Carver Media or Requity Media, and then Requity Culinary as well.
Culinary.
You got so okay, so you got a lot of different programs. Talk a little bit about student engagement. I've got a recent high school. Well, my son just graduated in 2023 from Towson. Big out to Towson. And I know that at one point he wanted to be an influencer, which I think is pretty common of children his age or students his age. What what's like how interested are the students in the trades? You often hear that young people nowadays, digging a ditch isn't sexy, even though you can make six figures doing it. You know what I mean? And don't really realize the money that's out there, especially for plumbing and electricians, especially with all the solar and the decarbonization that's going on. Are the students, is this like an oversubscribed program? Are you having to kind of pull and tug to get students involved? Talk a little bit about that.
I wouldn't say a pull and tug. We do host like lunch and learns and events at the schools to let them know some of the programs we offer. But we did have to pivot to 2 sets of cohorts because of the volume of students that want to participate. We want to give the opportunity to all that applied. So we broke it down into 2 cohorts that are between 13 to 15 weeks.
Is there, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to add to EJ this point. I think what Requity is doing is providing context for students and what they're learning. So there's real world applications. And so when you go to school and you don't have context for the subject matter, it isn't as engaging. It doesn't stick. But I think that the fact that students are able to apply what they're learning in class in very real world settings and also get compensated for, there's an accountability. And then I also think that there's additional context to what their classmates are learning. And so they understand that, if I'm a mason, how my work needs to align with the carpenters that are going to come in next, or the electricians. And so I think it's providing just that overall context for students, which really helps to bring their curriculum more to life.
Well, I witnessed how popular your location is, even on a Saturday. You have people pulling up in front saying, "Hey, do you have a business card? I want to get in contact with you guys. I love what you're doing in the neighborhood." On a Saturday morning, which is I think amazing that the kind of the word is getting out, and you're definitely make a positive impact in the community. So what would you say is maybe the biggest challenge working with schools, parents, students? What would you say that is the biggest barrier that you guys are overcoming?
I certainly, there was some initial funding that we needed to put in place to have the right insurance policies in place. We wanted to make, that's, I think, part of the reason that some of the vocational schools have gotten away from some of this work-based learning, because of just the high cost of liability and insurance. And so we do carry multiple policies. I think that a lot. So the work-based learning, because the school district had gone away from it for some time, it was re-socializing some of the documents that are required. There's 6 signatures that are needed on a document so that a student can come across the street at around noon and then work with us from 12 to 5. So I think it was just sort of like getting the gears moving again for these kinds of opportunities. Certainly, we're not alone in this. Funding is critical to keep this going. With the more houses that we are able to acquire and work on, the more opportunities there are for students. But we continue to grow. We continue to be able to manage our growth at the pace. You certainly want to get your hands on as many young people as you possibly can, because it is making such a remarkable difference. We're working on a statistic. I talked about that $13,000 average. of compensation per year that students are making, typically out of vocational programs, and our students are averaging about $43,000 a year in compensation. So we're certainly having an impact on our young people and placing them, and we just hope to continue to meet the demand as it grows.
I love you know, this pathway, you know, of workforce development, kind of hands-on training, you know, as opposed to just, you know, kind of book theory. I attended North American Trade School a while back, and attended the carpentry program just to learn what's behind the drywall. You know, as a realtor, we're not really too informed about kind of what's behind all that type of stuff. So I wanted to learn. And that was hands-on, very expensive course, you know, college level course, maybe not college level, maybe junior college, but it was expensive. I know that much. And so the fact that students can, I mean, students don't have to pay to participate in this, right?
They actually get compensated.
Wow.
So
They get
students
paid.
they get paid.
Yeah.
Earn,
Big
learn
difference.
and
Oh,
earn.
okay. So tell us a little bit about where we are. I think we're into one of your properties. Kind of orientate us and let us know what's happening.
So this is the Carver House. This is our pilot project. And then just you'd asked about, student engagement. I think it's important to note that this whole idea was that of a student's. Sterling Hardy, who would get off the 51 bus, I think it is, and he would look down Pressman Street and see just rows of vacant, dilapidating houses, which, was troubling for him because part of the reason we talked about that students weren't getting access to opportunities because they lack real world experience. And he says, I look down and there's opportunity for this real world experience. Why can't we apply what we're learning in our classroom, go across the street and address? And so, and that's what we set out to do. And so this was our first house, the Carver House. And then as we got into it, we said, well, maybe there are better ways to build that not only impact greenhouse gas emissions, but air quality inside. Some of our students suffer from asthma. So building this way can impact that. And so what you're looking at is those, and we're building passive house principles, or using passive house principles to build this Carver House, and students practice inside in the masonry lab on a smaller version of the Carver House. It's called the Carver Hut. But what you're looking at here, you can see the black walls behind the framing. That is weatherization masonry that's been done. So that's so you're dealing with 100-year-old brick and mortar, and so that needs to get repointed up. And then there's an air and vapor barrier that gets applied over that, and then you see some of the framing that goes on top of that, where there'll be quite a good amount of insulation as one of the principles. But ideally, when this is done, it's going to operate incredibly efficiently to the point where the energy demands are some 90% less than what they would typically be, and then that obviously corresponds to your energy bills.
I don't think many people realize that Baltimore has more historic architecture than New York and DC combined.
Oh, wow.
We actually have more historic architecture than any other city in the country. So yeah, these homes can be 120, 150 years old, and nothing's plumb anymore.
Right.
So it creates an extra layer of challenges. So what percentage of what we're looking at have the students done versus maybe a mentor that's come?
That's a good question. I mean, I think it's probably anywhere from a third to a quarter, but students are involved, whether the mentor is doing the work, the students are there. So we think about when it isn't necessarily appropriate for hands-on, they're standing back and they're observing, or they're working alongside or with the mentor, or they're actually doing the work themselves. But there's nothing in this house that students haven't had a hand in. With the exception of the roof.
Right.
And so like how long would it take to finish the home? Like how many semesters do you go to? Is my first question. Like a student starts off in the fall, and then I guess works year round maybe. And then my second part of that question is, do you have graduates from your program that come back and help and maybe mentor some of the students as well?
Yes, so good question. So this is because this one is a pilot, and to your point about nothing's plumb anymore, it's been there's been quite a bit of learning. We're still learning how to marry up this 100-plus-year-old brick and mortar along with the stone foundation. So it's has taken longer to figure these out, but ideally it would be within a year that students get to see something from start to finish. We do have certain students that have come back. Some of them have gone to other opportunities for internships, and if it is right, we'll take them back and they can apply what they've learned in their other experiences. But we do have some of our younger youth construction coordinators that work with alongside some of our senior construction people, then working with the students to help sort of bridge the social gap, I guess, with younger folks. And but the smaller the ratio, as long as the construction is being taught right, the more impactful the education is.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think even coming up on some of the challenges that you were discussing earlier in regards to just being plumb and dealing with an older house. I mean, what better environment for the students to try to figure this out? You know what I mean? Than being in this time, because it takes, the algebra, the calculus, and all that to try to get it just right, which they're learning in school, which I think is amazing. Alicia, you mentioned in a video that you sent me that you had a recent, I believe, grad of your program who now is working with MCB Real Estate.
Yes.
And for those that don't know, MCB Real Estate is a Baltimore-based firm, development firm, real estate firm, and they do some amazing work. They're actually redeveloping the world famous Baltimore Inner Harbor. So to know that one of your students may have a hand in that potential project, and amongst a lot of the other projects that they've done throughout the city and throughout the country, I think that's absolutely amazing. Can you talk a little bit about that experience?
Yes, absolutely. So Kamante came to us 3 days before school started, his last year in high school. The electrical teacher resigned, to further his own opportunities. And he knocked at Requity's door looking for opportunity because he wanted that hands-on experience. And we were able to provide that and also offer him a internship through Urban Alliance. Urban Alliance were then able to place him with MCB Real Estate. He was one of the first out of two students to participate in this cohort. And after the 90-day period, they picked him up permanent full-time employee.
That's
So
amazing.
to
That's amazing.
see from the beginning to now is truly heartwarming.
Absolutely. Shouts out to David Bramble and MCB Real Estate doing great things here in Baltimore. There was another house. Let me take over control here on our 3D tour. I don't want to miss any of this. Sorry if I'm making you dizzy.
No,
No, you're
But
fine.
so that was on autopilot before.
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Wow.
So what I'll do is at the end I'll show you how to navigate the tour because you can just press play and it plays it.
Wow.
So tell me about 2226
Yes.
Pressman.
So this home has been vacant as long as I've been in this community. They have a program called Buy Into Baltimore, and I noticed it wasn't listed. So I reached out to the administrator that's in charge of the Buy Into Baltimore for this region and found out that it could be placed on the market. So we had to provide all the paperwork, show that we're able to remodel the home. Once all the documents were submitted, maybe a month later, we received the award letter that we are able to obtain this house.
Nice. Okay, so the plan is to do similar to what you're doing in the Carver House and totally renovate this house or kind of use it as a lab, like a living lab, or how are you guys thinking about using this property?
So I know we will utilize it so the students are able to get the hands-on experience, something similar to Carver House 1 is what I call it. But right now, I think we're still trying to determine if it will be idealistic to make it a training house, being as though there is a resident that lives on the side. Construction continuously could be annoying,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or turn it into a property where though it's possible to be rented. So it could be a revenue generating source to help us with our mission.
I love it. I love it. Okay. All right. So Alicia, talk to me a little bit about you said you grew up in the neighborhood. You've been here for 30 plus years. How has it changed over the years and kind of what does this program mean to you and the rest of the surrounding community?
I would say Requity has been a major impact in the community. When I was growing up, it was always that it takes a village scenario, but like over the years, I've noticed that village has slowly dissipated.
Mm,
So I feel like Requity is a reintroduction to come on, let's be that village,
yeah.
showing that it is individuals that do actually care, and providing residents with the opportunity to express the wants, the needs, the hopes, the desires. It's a lot of elderly in the community. Food access has been a big issue in the community because it's no longer a market in walking
Mhm,
distance.
mhm, mhm.
So, finding all of these things out has kind of brought us to another project of adopting a 0.67 acre lot and with the hopes of transforming into an urban farm community garden.
Well, let's teleport there. Um,
Okay.
it's the magic of technology. We could just kind of teleport right there. So this is the space that you're talking about, right? It's you said it's 1 point or zero.
So
How big is
it's
it?
point 0.67 acres.
Okay.
I was able to adopt it August of last year. We just got word that we may be able to purchase the lot. And if
Hmm.
that is something that could come into existence, we would be able to build a structure. So that could consist of like a classroom, a space where community gathering can happen, and also any crops or produce that are produced here on this lot could be utilized in our culinary program to help feed the community.
Mhm.
You were talking about a potentially commercial kitchen.
Yeah, so one thing, culinary program has been expanding, and we realized like, the demand because we've been requested to do catering events.
Mhm.
So we need a commercial kitchen. So if we are able to purchase this property, that will give us plenty of space to build out a commercial kitchen.
So what you're looking at on the screen, Michael does not have a twin brother. This is this is when I mentioned to them, I said my camera doesn't like people. And this is kind of why, because it does crazy things with this technology, but it came out pretty good. But just in full disclosure, I don't think you have a twin brother. You may, but he wasn't present in Saturday. Yeah, I mean, this is really cool. Another thing that comes to mind, and I don't know how you could do both, but it seems like this would be an awesome like community solar site as well
Hmm.
Yes.
for residents. I mean, there seems to be a lot of, both on I'm speaking for the school district, of course, but both on school grounds and kind of in this place for like a community solar project. Do you plan on having any solar on any of your projects, or are the students learning kind of that aspect of construction as well?
So we're definitely going to have solar on top of the Carver House.
Okay.
And there was when I think we had shared that we had competed in a Department of Energy competition, community energy innovation, and we were able to walk away with the top prize. One of the other runner-ups is doing solar on a farm in Arkansas, and it just struck me. And one of the reasons is that because it gets so hot, that a lot of the farming needs to happen at night, and that the solar
wow.
provides the power to bring the light to be able to do that farming work. So that's what we were thinking. That's a really good point you talk about a moment ago about broadening that impact. But yeah, that's I think we're open to
Absolutely.
the highest and best use for these spaces for this deserving community.
So it sounds like you're doing deep energy retrofit to passive house standard, but then there's also potential kind of net zero component to it as well by adding the solar and maybe EV charging and those types of things, which I think is very amazing. So yeah, what haven't I asked you that you want people to know about, Requity, maybe some of the needs, like how do people get in contact with you, if they want to donate, those types of things.
Okay, I'll take this one. So we can be reached at hello@requity.org. To donate, you can visit our website, www.requity.org. We're located 2142 Pressman Street, basement suite. We're here Monday through Friday between 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And my Instagram,
Folks,
our Instagram is Carver _ house, which is done by students. It's really remarkable work that they do and the content they put out. So they were flying a drone this morning as some of the roofing material, the high performance roofing material was arriving today. But we're so thrilled to be a part of this community and to be invited to participate. It's been an honor, and Aaron, it's wonderful to connect with you.
Yes.
And it's really great to know that there are others thinking and doing similar work in this world and in this city, this state.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thanks you for shout out to Dr. Melanie Thomas for making the introduction.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And folks, you're looking at Requity HQ. They're right here in Baltimore, right in West Baltimore, doing big things with the students. Definitely support them in any way that you can. And I'll make sure that your contact information magically appears on the slide as we close out. But I wanted to. Do you have a few seconds?
Yes.
I want to show you. There's 5 ways to navigate this 3D tour. Okay. The first way is pressing this play button in the bottom left-hand corner, and that just navigates you through each scan point. Okay. And you just take your hands off, and it just kind of, you can do it that way. In order to get this on like a YouTube video, you'd need to do like a screen recording of this and then upload that to YouTube if you wanted to create social media content from it. Because there's no direct link to YouTube. So that's one way. The second way is through what's called a dollhouse view. And let me switch to all. So this is kind of a dollhouse view, and I'm just using my mouse to kind of manipulate. This is hardware agnostic, so you can experience this on a mobile device, on a cell phone. You can kind of pinch and grab on a laptop, desktop. So that's kind of what's called the dollhouse view. And then there's what's called a floor plan view.
That's how I got it.
So this is the actual Carver house right here. If you recall when I went inside. So all you'd have to do is just double click on that, and you'll teleport right into the home.
Wow.
And then I can go between floors. So we're on the top floor currently. We're on the second floor of the home, and then I can hit 6, and we go right through the floor. Whoop. Well, I was supposed to go through the floors onto the main floor. The other thing that you can do is, let's go back into the Carver house real quick. This is pretty important. I want to show you one of the benefits of this is being able to take measurements.
Oh my gosh.
Right. So just by clicking this little ruler right here, back in the day, I'd have to physically draw a line, which was no problem to get the measurements. But because of artificial intelligence, it's already given me the measurements of the walls, the ceiling heights, the lengths. You can measure anything within the space, which I think is pretty amazing. And then this little button down here is, so let me click off of this. So this little button down here is kind of, I can hide some of the things inside the space.
Oh my gosh.
Just by clicking that little button. Right.
Oh, yeah.
So that way you can hide some of the construction material if you want to do space planning, those types of things. So
Oh my God. So
there it
cool.
is.
That
There it
is.
is on, and then there it is. Here it is off.
Oh my gosh.
And then this button over here on the right, this is how you share to social media: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, or email. So when I click link to this location, let's say I was having a meeting and we wanted to talk to somebody about, I guess this is going to be a bedroom on the second floor,
Mhm.
and we wanted to bring people directly to this space without having to kind of navigate here. You would click on the link to this location, and then I'm just going to open up another window, paste, and then it brings me directly to that location. So this is a great collaboration tool as well, if that makes sense.
I'll be utilizing this tomorrow for my meeting about the urban farm. Thank you.
There you go. So it's just clicking on share space, and then link to this location sends you to exactly where you want people to go. And then lastly is being able to put on a MetaQuest VR headset.
VR.
So it's VR ready. So, your students can, if they're in the school building and wanting to see what's going on the property, they can put on a headset and their brain tells them that they teleported there. So a little geeky, but I wanted to spend some time and show that to you. I think this was great. Thank you so much for what you guys are doing in West Baltimore, and I'm so excited to highlight your work here.
Thank you so much.
Thanks again for coming to see us.
My pleasure. My pleasure. All right. You guys have a great one.
All right. You do the same.
I'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.